Hello and welcome to We Got a podcast about Dragon Ball from A to Z, from Earth to Namek to Sadala. We cover it all. My name is Randy.
My name's Doug.
And I'm either 500 years or 5 million years old, Ken.
Oh boy.
Remains to be seen. We are the world's strongest under the heavens trio de dangers, here every other week to talk your ear off about fights, goofs, and everything else in the Dragon Ball cosmos. Doug, how you doing?
Yo, good, buddy. Had a good Christmas. How about you?
Oh, mine was pretty good.
Yeah.
Ken, how about you?
I saw Sonic 3 in movie theaters. And
That's all this episode is going to be, everybody. Strap in, it's Sonic time.
Okay, look. The movie ruled. I loved it. It was awesome. It was so good. It was so much better than Sonic 1 and 2 combined, and then like
really?
a Grand Canyon. It's not, you can't, unfathomable. Like, I like Sonic 1 and I like Sonic 2, but it's unfathomable that this was the same team. This was so much more of a
interesting,
competent movie. The humans in it never felt like they took away from the thing, and in fact actually added to it.
Yes.
Jim Carrey is acting his heart out and giving 2 performances of a lifetime. Mm-hmm. Keanu Reeves as Shadow absolutely nailed it in ways that I never thought possible.
Really?
The characterization of Sonic in this movie was great. Knuckles was great. Tails is okay.
Dude, I love how unhinged Ken is right now. He's totally Sonic pilled.
If there was something that was going to turn me into like a hardcore Sonic fan, it would be this movie.
Oh my god. So now I have to watch Sonic 1 and 2 to watch this movie?
Yes.
I barely watched 1. 2 was not on my radar at all, but I'm really curious to see 3 because I've heard a lot of fan services in this as well.
Oh, I mean, there always is.
Yeah.
There always is? Okay. But the good shit's in here.
This is a film. Whereas like Sonic 1 and 2 are flicks, right? You go, whatever. This has themes. This has character arcs. This is awesome.
Beautiful. I was always so skeptical because like I love Ben Schwartz, but they didn't let Ben Schwartz be Ben Schwartz as Sonic. It's very like by the numbers, but maybe that he got better in these new movies.
I feel like he's always been able to do his own thing. I think the first movie was kind of just like the script wasn't really super great. And it was just, they're working with a script they've had laying around for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. And then 2, they really got to build on it. And then 3, they're like, just go balls to the wall. This is all Sonic fun times.
All right, I got to find these movies then and watch them somehow.
It was like that turning point where when Marvel started doing their own superhero movies, where they weren't afraid to just be superhero movies.
Right.
This is like, we're not going to be afraid to just be a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And we're going to throw all pretenses out the window and just like nail what this should be. And they absolutely do. It's awesome.
I love to hear it. I'm really glad to hear it. I love that.
Me too. Yeah, I know. Cause
I love that for you.
I know that you said you went to go see it on Sunday, and I was like, I gotta know what he thinks, but I know Ken, he wants to be talking about it on the show.
He's been holding that back for days. He's been holding it back so hard.
Especially when he knows how much I like Sonic. He's right up here. He's always on screen.
True.
I've got some Sonic off screen too.
Over there. I've got statues over here. Like
my Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks custom kit is called Hedgehog, so it's a Hedgehog, the Sonic.
I mean, look at him. That's very true. That's what he is.
Speaking of Super Saiyan 3. Mm-hmm. More on that later.
That's true. I was going to say, you can't just segue into that now.
I'm going rogue, baby.
One thing I also did was I got a new Lego set. Now, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I own the Seinfeld Lego set, right? Where it's Jerry's apartment.
Yeah.
And I got the Friends Central Perk Lego set as well.
Yes. That makes so much sense. You've been so on the Friends train recently that I love the studio lights and everything too.
Yeah, it's so cool. This is an awesome set.
See Gunther back
there? How long did that take you to make?
Back there. Probably like 5 hours max, if I had to guess.
Is that fun for you, or just the end result is fun for you?
Well, it's fun. My wife helps me out, so we'll go like page to page, and she'll get the pieces out for me, and then I'm assembling. So we're probably going like twice as fast as you normally would.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's just building it. It's so satisfying when you're putting these pieces together that don't seem like
that
anything.
are nothing. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it clicks and you realize what you've been building the whole time.
That's a couch.
Yeah. Yeah. So could it be any more of a Lego set? You
Shut
tell me.
Shut I don't watch Friends and I know that's a friend.
Randy, what have you been up to?
Oh, I've been on break for like the past week, and I've been trying to get some stuff done. So I finally jumped into Schitt's Creek. So that's a good show. Finished season 1. Good stuff. Star Trek Lower Decks. Watched all of that last season in like 3 days.
Dude,
so,
oh my God. That ending. They knew how to end a show with that.
Right? I'm fresh off it. That was like an hour ago. So,
Nice.
yeah, that was incredible. And I knew that it was, coming to an end. And yeah, the way they ended, I'm like, well, don't do that. Now I just want 8 million more seasons of this. How dare you? So that bumps me out. Let's see, what else? Oh, I watched that movie, Wild Robot, that came out this year.
It's a good movie.
It's extremely good.
I saw it in theaters. That was like, oh my God, this is a film. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. DreamWorks is killing it. Like they are in a special era now. Nobody can touch them.
I totally didn't know what to expect. I just went in blind, and I'm so glad I did because it was. Oh my! It had one of the moments that can be so corny if done wrong, where they name drop the title of the movie. But I got chills, dude. They were like, or like I forget what it was, but it's like, I am Wild Robot. I'm like, yes, something that they're like, let's go. It's so good. It knows how to nail the tone that it wants to aim for. It hits it. It's good.
Yeah, that is a cinema film if I've ever seen one. The other thing's quick. I got in my Linux-based handheld that looks like a Game Boy Advance.
What?
Look at that thing.
Is the screen bigger too?
Oh yeah, it's bigger. I think it's 3 times the resolution, so a perfect 3x integer scale.
Wow,
it's perfect. It's
beautiful. Does it do the thing where you put a regular Game Boy game and then you can stretch it out to widescreen? It's all ugly and stretched out.
I'm sure you could. I'm not going to do that.
I know. As a kid who didn't know any better, like I'm like, I want it to fill the whole screen, so I did that and played Pokemon like super wide.
Oh yeah, no, not doing that. I'm just
I would do that now.
Yeah, playing them, I think, the right way, and it's good. I started playing Minish Cap, Legend of Zelda game on there that I've started before, and then I lost the save file, and then I was like, well, whoops.
You're me. That's the same thing that happened to me.
Hey, I was playing it on my phone before, and then I don't know, I did like a factory reset on my phone. I'm like, oh no, my save file. But now I've got it figured out because, I got this. And then earlier this year, I'm sure I showed it up before, I got the SP style one.
Yeah, why would you need both then?
Because I'm insane, Douglas.
Okay. No, I'm not one to talk. I'm looking.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I'm just asking.
3 Omega Shenlongs, okay?
You keep hitting with the 3 Omegas. I must have 3 other things, too.
I'm sure you do. But they're for different things, or because I'm insane. Anyway, I spent some time this past weekend, and I set up a sync thing system between all of these devices to sync all of my save files between
you can do that?
Yeah, between those and my PC, and they're all hosted on my NAS server, which is constantly on. So anytime it connects to the network, it goes, oh, boop, let me just grab those save files and put that on everything else over here.
Just to show how different worlds that people can be in is that you're doing that, and my mom couldn't open up YouTube on her new laptop. She Googled the word YouTube, and I'm like, am I here? I'm like, no. Almost.
Bless your heart. Doug's mom, we love you. Actually,
I love her. So. She got me, in tradition, she got me more of the Dragon Ball manga, super manga, that I have been I've been letting her buy me little by little because they're cheap little gifts, but she keeps buying them in out of sequence order. So now I have copies 4 and 8.
Hey, there you go.
I think with what past year she's gotten me, I'm almost completed. I can read it all in one go. But I was flipping through 4 and 8, and I'm like, oh my God, this is some good. Now that I enjoy reading the super manga, I'm like, this is some good stuff in here. I need to check this out more often. But yeah, I saw the Roshi explaining to Goku Ultra Instinct. I'm like, what? Oh yeah, this is what Randy and Ken were talking about earlier and everything, and is some good stuff, man.
Yeah, we'll get to granola here real soon. And then 2 other quick things. One, it was finally in stock. I picked up the Retro Fighters Nintendo 64 controller in the original gray with the blue and green buttons and yellow buttons. It's like an Xbox-shaped controller, except for, of course, only just one stick, and then just the 64 buttons. And because they make a whole bunch of them, but they all come in different colors, and the gray one has been sold out forever, but that was on sale a couple of days ago. It's in the mail. Get in a few days, and that'll be good. And I'm just going to drop my goatees, because I did my list. It's the end of the year.
Oh, your goatees. Okay.
It's New Year's. It's New Year's Eve for us and for not the listener because they're listening in the future. And it's spicy. So, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. These are the top 5.
Mm-hmm. In particular order, or just naming 5?
Just 5. I don't have a particular order here. Natsumon, 20th Century Summer Kid, which is really, really good. That was the Boku no Natsu
That's the one you and Mike were playing?
Helps. Yes, exactly.
Gotcha. I want to check that out.
It's good. Shadow Generations, which, Ken, have you played Shadow Generations yet?
No, I played Sonic Generations and then lost my save a long time ago.
Familiar.
So I don't know. I would like to someday. Sonic Generations is like the one Sonic game that I think is legitimately good, but we'll save that for another day.
Sure. Well, Shadow Generations, it's real good, man.
Heard that one was good. Yeah.
Having a good time. 1000 Times Resist, which was a Canadian, I believe.
That's why that game's on my wish list. I'm like, why do I have this random game on my wish? Someone must have recommended it to me, and it was probably you that did. So
Mike and I were playing it. Like, he played it, and then I played it right after him, and
gotcha.
It was very, very good.
Cool.
And Sparking Zero. I'm sorry, it's so good.
Yeah. You're free to have wrong opinions on the show. Okay. I'm just kidding. Don't come after me. I just suck at the game.
That one might be my number 1. Not gonna lie, because it's good. It's a good workout game because I've been on the exercise bike playing that.
Like for your thumbs? What do you mean?
Because the match is like 7 minutes, and so I played like 4 matches. I've been on that thing for half an hour. It's great. It's easy.
Good.
So yeah, a lot of things, but that's all that, and we can jump into what we're really here to do, guys. It's Daima time, and we're on episodes 11 and 12. So we're just gonna. Oh, big doozies. So if you don't know what Daima is, hey, there's a ton of episodes in the backlog here, man. Go listen to those and then, go watch the show. You're going to have a good time. But it's the new anime series that started in October, quote unquote, most Toriyama involvement of all the shows, which is exciting. Takes place a year after the fight with Majin Buu. And Ken's got a recap to get you caught up on what's happened so far in Dragon Ball Daima.
Last time on Dragon Ball Daima, using a Saibai-Man seed, Dr. Arinsu and the Great Witch Marba give life to Majin Koo. As our heroes reunite and head to the second demon world for a massive, possibly problematic lore dump, Arinsu and Koo make their bid for power to claim the first demon world's Dragon Ball. As Koo quickly concedes defeat to Tamagami number 1, what will be the fate of the remaining Dragon Balls in this Daima Wonderland?
That's exciting. So, we got 2 big episodes here, guys. Episode 11, Legend, and episode 12, True Strength. How are we feeling about this, Doug? You're fresh off of it. Let's hear what you have to say.
I am enjoying myself, finally, in this series. I think I might have been enjoying the previous episodes a little too, but this finally feels like we reached a stride where we're like, okay, we know what we're doing finally, and things are much more enjoyable now that we have at least two different groups of people we can go back and forth into. It's been very enjoyable.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Ken, how are you feeling?
I really like these episodes. I really liked them when I rewatched them. And I need you, the listener, to understand that. Because I'm going to get into some stuff, particularly in episode 11. And I need you to know that I enjoyed these episodes despite what I'm going to get into, okay? Because there's stuff to tear apart in episode 11.
This has been us the entire time, I feel like, too. Yeah. Like Ken and I have been enjoying it, but we have our grievances.
Yeah, but I think people are starting to take issue with it. So I need them to know. Yeah. Yeah. Randy?
I was really digging it. I've been kind of on the show's bandwagon the whole time, so I don't really have big complaints. There was one thing in episode 11 that did stick in my craw, I think. Yeah, there we go. And that bugs me, but it's just whatever. But episode 11, Ken, I know that you're going to have a lot to say, and I'm excited for it. And I want to tell the listeners out there, the reason why Ken is going to dig into stuff like this so much is because he loves it. He loves Dragon Ball, and he's having a good time with Daima so much that he just, has to be in there and let people, the staff, if you're listening, listen to what Ken has to say. He's going to fix the show for you.
If I didn't care, I wouldn't say anything at all.
Right. There you go. That's what it's all about. So then let's just jump into it. Episode 11, Legend. Overall, here's what's going on.
Our heroes greet Neba, who has come out to meet them before they take off. Seemingly, Neba is not a villain nor a threat to Goku and the others, and instead freely answers any and all their questions before asking to join them in their quest, as he is the only one of the group who still speaks the Namekian language needed to work the Dragon Balls. With the legendary Namek in tow, they set off for Tamagami number 2, upon which Vegeta has already called dibs. While they travel, Arinsu and Marba concoct an even stronger, more Buu-like Majin Doo. They set off for a rematch against Tamagami number 1. Doo fights his battle simultaneously with Vegeta fighting it out with number 2 before the Saiyan Prince gets smacked into the waiting maw of a Kraken.
No.
No! Vegeta not like this!
No, man, come on. All right. So this one is fun because we got a whole new character, more Majin shenanigans. Now Koo has a little brother, something he's always wanted. You know, despite being alive.
Day.
Yeah, despite being alive for an afternoon.
But it's cute. It's very cute. Just like, even if it is just a day, it's. I've always wanted to fight about snacks.
I'm going to get a sweeping statement here. Koo and Doo are the best part of the show.
Amazing. Oh my God. What a breath of fresh air that we needed for so long. I want them to hang around more than this series. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. They're not giving us enough Degasu and Gomah. So this I'm going to take. It's what I liking.
I liked even Koo just on his own, but like I think Doo, the combination of the two are a perfect Goten and Trunks duo. Like it's just they work well together. Even though Doo is just like the stereotypical like, oh, he's funny because he's fat, but it works in combination with Koo.
I think it works no matter what. I think he's fantastic in every way.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that he becomes the kind of character that it's hard to think back on Dragon Ball before he was around.
Me too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love how Koo has anime Majin Buu hands with fingers, and then Doo has the manga anime with just like the fist looking with a thumb. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So this episode starts off, and they're doing that entire history of Dragon Ball segment at the beginning, which to me screamed like we didn't have enough to fill in the time slot. And then it made me think back, Randy, you talked about this show's net anime origins, or as I like to call it, anime origins, where it might have been a longer slot here, and how they're having to cut around a whole lot. And I feel like I don't remember exactly what it was, but in episode 11 or 12, there felt like there was something missing, like a shot or a scene missing. And so I wonder if there's some sort of like different cut of this show that will come out.
Oh yeah,
down the line.
Mm-hmm. It's possible. Yeah, why not? So, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens here, especially with Neba and everything. I don't like that he's not villainous. He's just like, just kooky old man.
He's just the Yoda character.
I see. He's not just the kooky old man though. This is the dude with Keikaku on top of Keikaku, right? He apparently knew that turning these guys into kids was going to basically bring them on Gomah's warpath.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't expect them to get the Demon Realm Dragon Balls. He thought they were going to come get Dende on their own. He wasn't expecting them to get the Dragon Balls. And then Goku says like, well, it'll just be faster if we do it this way and get back to adults than to like get Dende. And then I guess have to wait for Dende to age up. Or what? Yeah. There's also some weird stuff about Dende in here too.
Yeah.
Which I'd like to get into. Basically, this episode smacks to me of someone writing a story, in this case Yuko Kakihara, and being like, look at all, like, I know the term Katats. You didn't think I knew that name? But not understanding what invoking that name is going to do when you start trying to add it into the lore.
It very much is like not Toyotaro feeling. With Toyotaro, like, oh, he knows what everything he's including like has remnants for it or whatever, like ramifications for it or whatnot.
Yeah, or being like, check it out. I knew that Piccolo spoke Namekian at the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, but not understanding what saying that. Like, okay, let's just get into it. Okay?
I totally get what you mean, though.
So Piccolo sees straight through Neva's like old man goofy routine and everything
for whatever reason.
Piccolo kind of reiterates that he is again aware of who Neva is. Neva instantly recognizes Piccolo as a warrior type Namekian
class.
So,
which I thought was kind of cool. Not thinking about it too much. Like, yeah, that's kind of cool that he can just kind of pick up on that.
Yeah, and we'll get into why it could have been even cooler, Doug.
Okay.
In one of the patented We Got a Podcast rewrites that nobody asked for.
Nobody asked for. But you're getting, baby.
Okay. So, Neva knew Katats, meaning that Katats lived in the demon realm before fleeing to the outside world, meaning that the Namekian backlore goes like this. Katats and the Grand Elder both lived in the demon realm. Katats, the Grand Elder, and all Namekians but Neva flee the demon realm to establish Planet Namek in the outside world, okay?
Right.
A Namekian, who we'll refer to as Piccolo, but was presumably not his original Namekian name, is born to Katats. The Great Catastrophe occurs on Planet Namek. Katats sends Piccolo to Earth. Piccolo splits into two so that he can become Kami. Within Roshi's lifespan, Piccolo is sealed in a rice cooker. Okay.
Whoa.
So how long ago exactly did the Namekians flee the demon realm? How old was Katats during this catastrophe? How old was the Grand Elder? And how old was Kami? Okay. We're now getting into guidebook stuff a little bit. Namek's catastrophe was 514 years ago, as of 775, in year 261. Okay. Kami, meaning Kami was at least 506 years old when he remerges with Piccolo in the year 767. Kakarot lore, as we discussed last time, offers up that a Namekian lifespan is 200 years, but that some may live much longer than that. The only reason why I'm bringing up Kakarot is that Toriyama did do some like lore stuff for that game. We know it's at least 2 instances, 3 technically, Bonyu being the third one, but about Saiyans not needing to regrow their tails anymore, and then the animaline stuff, okay? But that's what we know. There could be more. And that's the only reason why I'm even touching the Kakarot lore here is could be Toriyama. Who knows?
Okay.
But it seems as though the Namekian mass migration happened at the same time as the Kaioshin, right? Because that is when Abra started putting the kibosh on people being able to go back and forth freely.
Oh.
Happened at the same time as the Kaioshin, or possibly even before, which would have been at least 5 million years ago. Now, that exact 5 million year number is guidebook lore. However, that number comes from the manga in chapter 445, where Shin tells the story of Majin Buu by framing it as beginning, quote, mankind was learning to walk upright. In reality, and this is all stuff I wrote for the Kanzenshi Wiki, and I'm just regurgitating it here.
Okay.
In reality, the lineage of humans affords a wide range of dates for this evolutionary process spanning across multiple millions of years ago. Okay, so now let's get into what Kaioshin says in episode 10 with Bulma. Abra feared the potential threat of beings from the outside and limited the use of Warp Sama. Bulma asks, were you still in the demon realm then? Kaioshin says, yes, but most of the remaining Glins revolted against Abra's cruel ways and escaped to the outside universe. I was chosen as Kaioshin after that.
Huh.
So we are talking Katats being 5 million years old?
Now, I might have been missing something here, but I want to ask a question because you are guidebook lore man and you have this, you have the timeline down. Did all Namekians leave then? Or was it that's when they started and we don't know when it stopped?
Well, that's when it would have had to have stopped because that's when he limited the use of Warp Sama. Now,
doesn't mean that you can't use it.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that this is where we could have a future episode kind of untie this and say that like some many years later, the Namekians like snuck out and everything. But the way I feel that things are being understood now is that at the time or around the time of when the Kaioshin, the Glind, revolted and left, to me, that feels like that's when kind of it all went down.
What's tying it with the 5 million thing is that it's that Kaioshin said that he left to become the chosen.
Thanks for bringing this up. Kaioshin defeated Bibidi 5 million years ago. as Kaioshin.
Whoa.
Meaning that was everything that Glenn's leaving was at least 5 million years ago.
Oh, okay.
But that's why I was wondering, because if we had, sure, maybe a bunch of Namekians left at once, but then like over time, more and more left. And it's like, Grand Elder and Katats could have been one of the last few, and that could have just been a few hundred years ago.
I mean, maybe that's why Neva knows Katats' name particularly, because he was such a standout Namekian that lived like 10 million years. So Katats has been around for 5 million years, and then Neva was born.
Okay,
but then that also means that the Grand Elder, who also knew Katats, would also be crazy that same crazy age.
The Grand Elder knew Katats? Oh, yeah.
We are only 12 episodes into the show, so I'm not outright saying everything is broken. They have 8 episodes left in which to explain something else. Because to me, the way that this all comes across is that everything went down and was locked down 5 million years ago. And so limited warp.
The thing is that our characters know that our characters know this, so that they're not confused too. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, a limited use of the warp sama to me reads as you're not having an entire species migrate out of there after that point. So again, this can all be explained later, but I'm just saying, you as a now a very educated viewer watching Dragon Ball Daima, be waiting for this. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is what I'm talking about, where it's like you can bring up cool lore things, but not understand the full implications of it. And you they're sourcing stuff from Toriyama interviews.
Well, so I was going to say, would this lore work if you didn't know data book stuff? Like if you're just going by anime logic and what we know from just watching the anime, would this all kind of work?
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that the 5 million years ago thing is a guidebook number, but that is sourced from the way Kaioshin tells the story about Buu, which no matter what number you pin that on was millions of years ago.
Okay.
Because he says when humans were learning to walk upright.
Mm-hmm.
So no, it breaks the original series.
Right. I mean, there could also be the explanation of what's the term of like unreliable narrator. There could be some that meddling where Kaioshin doesn't know. He's like miscommunicating or whatever. But I'm just trying to find a way to make it all tie.
Right. And I appreciate that. I think it's that Neba doesn't also be like, oh, actually, that's wrong, and this is how it went down. He's just kind of like, yep.
Maybe all warrior classes are named Katats at that time.
Oh.
That's why he knows. Could this also tie in somehow to Dragon Ball Evolution and how, like, if my theory of that the Saiyans came from the demon world realm, that in the Dragon Ball Evolution, Piccolo says that Ozarus were my servant 2,000 whatever years ago. This could all tie in. This could all be a huge ploy to tie in Dragon Ball Evolution to the canon story.
Toriyama's master plan.
Dude, how round circle would that be? His last dying breath was to be like, make it fit evolution.
So, I do agree that maybe the Namekians didn't leave 5 million years ago, but to sum it all up, sure seems that way. And if that's not the case, then they need to explain that in our remaining episodes, which very well could happen because it's a question that's been raised. Just like when Katats asks for Piccolo's name, and then he finds that Piccolo is kind of a weird name to have.
Mm-hmm.
You mean Neba asks for Piccolo's name, not Katat. You said Katats.
Katats came back and I missed it.
Yeah, man. It was a wild episode.
Piccolo's a word in Namekian, which means different world or Chigao Sekai. I went and checked it in Japanese to make sure that there was no translation thing different. So Chigao means like difference, and then Sekai means world. So different world. That is Piccolo.
Wow.
So could it be the same thing as them saying, like, when Goku thinks Pansy's a weird name? It could be, right? But it's not played for a joke in that way. It's just played more like, I don't explain. It's like he's never heard of that word before. Like that seems like a foreign word to Neva.
I think I might have picked up on it as a joke. I mean, just how they also jokes like, not joke, but he's like, Namekians shouldn't use their powers for
Namekians must not use their power for conflict. In which point everyone looks at Piccolo, but only Goku and Bulma were around at that time.
That's why it's wholly like a gag that they don't think too much into.
That gag would have worked better if there was a line coming from Goku about it, I think. Also, the way it's framed is really weird. There's some framing issues in this whole show. But
the first time I saw that joke, I didn't really get it. I'm like, why are they looking at Piccolo? And then like I kind of like got it. It took me a minute, but it wasn't played super well. But it was still funny with the meaning.
Vegeta has never known that Piccolo. And the way Dragon Ball goes, remember, Kid Trunks never heard about Future Trunks in Super, right? Like, he was blown away when this guy showed up.
Yeah.
People don't talk about the past in Dragon Ball.
True. Damn.
I mean, maybe that's a very special case because, Vegeta and Bulma could have been like, look, we don't want the future knowledge to screw anything up. Don't tell Kid Trunks about any of this. But
They could have been a scene where like Bulma and Vegeta were talking, swapping stories on their way to meet up with the gang, because like, hey, we're going to the demon realm. Piccolo's a demon. He used to be blah blah.
What else are they going to talk about?
Yeah,
Vegeta could have been like, I need to know everything about this Kakarot fellow. I live with this girl now. She's got videotapes of these Budokai things that have happened. Whoa, the Piccolo's there. He's being a dick. Like, I'd be friends with this guy.
I don't want to harp on it too much because I do think the concept of what is the GT thing, the idea versus the execution or whatever. I think the idea of the joke was great.
Is great. The execution, yeah,
sure,
that's great. I love diving into these things with you guys. This is hilarious.
Piccolo knows that everything that's been happening has been Neva's keikaku, and then Neva says, "You're a fellow Namekian indeed, so you know everything." Okay. The only reason I'm bringing this up is that they're really amping up Piccolo as a competent kind of guy. And so Neva
not
allowed
Piccolo,
the wish,
but Namekians in general, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, you're a true Namekian, so you know everything.
And you're definitely not going to forget a language. But so Neva was like, okay, allowing the children wish because he knew it was going to lead to this. And then we definitely now have confirmation that, Randy, I'm sorry, but he's not evil. Because he would have played senile had Gomah had the way I interpret this line is that had there been a more nefarious wish, that he would have played jokes. But he also predicted. No, go ahead.
Also calls into question the whole. I forget the main villain's name now. Gomah.
Gamu is for Daima season 2.
I mean, maybe he knows about how the human realm works or whatever. But in the demon realm, if you're kids are in kids' bodies for like hundreds of years or whatever, just like Pansy is. So why would he think turning them into kids would weaken them when it's like, no, you have competent demons that are that, I don't know. It's just, that kind of stuff.
And it really seems like it hasn't weakened them.
Yeah, exactly.
They've just had to like readjust to being in new bodies. But he also predicted that they were going to kidnap Dende, which is, he says, without Dende, the Earth Dragon Balls can never be used again. Okay, so I think this is new lore now. That if like the ball's guardian is not on the same planet or the same realm as the balls, and the balls won't work. And I was trying to think of if we ever saw an instance of that happening, but I guess Muri was always with his balls, and Kami and Dende have always been with their balls.
Thank God.
Yeah, and then the Super Dragon Balls are their own thing, and then when we get to the stuff with Granola, that was all. Everyone was around, right? The guardian of the balls has always been around.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, of course.
That is totally off here. A thing I didn't think about before. Does that mean the person who made the Super Dragon Balls is still alive? They're presumably Namekian.
Oh,
yeah.
Unless they work in a different frequency kind of thing, but just because they're super, they can be anything. It's like a make-wish all.
And that's why one of the big disappointments of Super was we never saw Zalima, who was like the presumed creator of these.
Isn't that the name of the dragon?
I don't know, Randy. You gotta tell me, dude.
You're supposed to know these
What
things.
is this, a Dragon Ball podcast?
That would require me to rewatch that episode, and I'm not going to do that. They're not worried about Dende being killed because Namekians are too valuable to be killed because they have all these tricks and whatnot. Neva did not expect that they were going to gather these Demon Realm Dragon Balls because he didn't expect how strong they were. And then we get the dumb execution of a great joke.
Execution, there you go. Yep.
Okay, so Neva asks, can any of you speak the Namekian language? Even if you gather the 3 Dragon Balls, you need to make your wish in the Namekian language. And then Goku asks, because Goku, smart and remembers the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, Piccolo can you speak it? And then Piccolo says, no, I've lived on Earth too long.
He does an cute, shy little voice. It's so great. But Ken, is there some lore implications with that?
Piccolo lives with
accuracies?
2 people who speak fluent Namekian, first of all.
Yeah.
They don't speak Namekian, though.
Dende and Popo do.
No, I mean, like, to each other. They've been speaking English to each other, probably.
You don't know
They're
that.
not like...
He has access to the things they knew.
Doug, do your Namekian impression.
No!
A real easy way around this, and I skeeted about this, is that I think it would have been cool because Neva brings up eyeing Piccolo as a warrior Namekian to remind us of that. Then this could have been real easy to say, like, warrior Namekians don't speak the right kind of Namekian or something. Because remember, Kami was not a Dragon Clan Namekian. He was a warrior Namekian. And so he is as far as we know, the only warrior Namekian to have created Dragon Balls, the only set that don't require a special language to be spoken.
I never thought about that, actually. That's really interesting that Kami wasn't a Dragon Clan warrior. Dragon Clan Namekian.
Instead, they choose the bad option and just have Piccolo forget. And again, Piccolo has forgotten stuff. He forgot how the Room of Spirit and Time worked. He forgot that Vegeta is really bad at judging enemy strength.
Yeah.
He forgot about gigantification.
Plus, like, thousands of years and millions, if you're going by accurate lore, like, dialects change with language, as with any language, so it could just be a different way of speaking Namekian.
Yeah. 1,000 better ways they could have navigated this need to bring Neva along.
Yes. And again, Ken's harping on it, but we enjoyed this, and when you turn your mind off into, like, this is a kid's show, for me, I tried tuning into that brain of mine, like, just being like, don't turn it on, just, like, enjoy it as a kid's show. That was a funny joke, and I enjoyed it.
Randy.
Is that what you've been doing, Randy, this entire time?
Even just be like, well, I'm the only one that knows the password, like, because you had to know Porunga. Besides just speaking Namekian to activate the dragon.
Yeah, and that could have even been interesting too, because they all had their own names, right? So this could have been a different. Yeah, man. Oh well.
And if you're listening and you're really tired of us harping on this kind of stuff, well, you're in luck because the scene ended, and I don't really think there's anything else to harp on about now.
Yeah.
Now we can. The stuff we also enjoyed was I still can't catch on to this, but I knew something was happening. Neva was like singing in his old like disheveled way. He's singing a theme song to one of the series, right? I just couldn't pinpoint Mystical Adventure. It doesn't. I still can't. I need to like have it side by side because I still don't catch it. I know he is because it's funny and cute, but it sounds more like the Italian intro to Dragon Ball. Like, where did you come from, Dragon Ball, or something like that. I forget how the Italian one goes, but it's the Italian one I'm thinking of.
Well, he's singing out of tune, so that's
right. That too, but I couldn't. But it's
even when you know that's what he's singing, you're like, oh, dude, come on.
Right, intentionally, of course.
Doesn't sit right. Yeah.
It's really cute that he does that, though.
It is. He's a cool dude.
So now we're back. Dr. Arensu territory, boys.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Arensu. Mommy.
Last time, they didn't use enough Boo essence. So this time, screw it. We're using it all.
Mm-hmm.
The rest
that's
of
all they have.
bit.
That's all they have left. That's the rest they have.
Yeah, and because they don't care about having controls, they're just gonna go. They're gonna change 2 variables at once, which you should never do.
Oh my god!
They're gonna also go 20 centimeters deep versus the 5 for Koo. Yeah,
and he's much more Boo-like. You know, is he? I mean, because like he's bigger and fatter, but like that's not what Boo
was.
Boo was a kid. He's like a little.
You take the fatness away, and it is pretty much the same. Yeah, I think even the eyes too, right?
But the essence that they took was from Fat Boo. So that's
right.
Because I thought about that too, guys. We podcast too much together. I thought about that too, and then I was like, oh no, because she takes that essence after Boo blows up. He's still Fat Boo.
Yeah.
So that little essence is still going to have the Daikaioshin. So now, conceivably, we have 2 Boo characters, 2 new Majins who have God Ki.
That's going to be very important.
If you super sickos really want to tie this into Super, you have to accept the implications of Katats, okay? This is the Katats rule. This is what we're calling it.
You know, that's why Moro wasn't afraid of, Do, because it's a whole nother realm. He's not going over there. It's fine.
Yeah. for now. Moro definitely from the demon realm, though. Those ears, and that was 10 million years ago, so it could have been when the doors are still open. Toyotaro, call us.
God of destruction from the demon realm.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking through my notes here to see if there's anything else of import to talk about, and there is, because I have a lot of notes. I just need to, I'm vamping until I can get to the next thing. Neva wants to keep the second demon world safe for, quote, when everyone returns.
Is that like just a sweet, like naive, like no one's going to come back, but this old man is just kind of hopeful that people will come back to his home? Is he actually a sad character that got left there and someone told him, you stay, we'll come back, but they never intended to, you know?
What is it?
I think...
If we wanted... Go ahead.
I think there's something... I think he's well-meaning, but I think he's going to do something real shifty later on in the series.
Shifty. You don't know. You just have a feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know like what. You can't guess what it will be.
Yeah, I think he wants everyone to come back. He wants all his Namekian brethren to come back, and therefore his goals and maybe Piccolo and Dende's goals are not going to align anymore.
But why would he want them back? Because like, if everyone's happy where they're at now, is he actually evil and wants them to do something shifty?
Piccolo is going to suddenly remember something Nail was told 200 million years ago. That Neva was like from an unpopular sect of Namekianism or something. He's like a Namekian purist or something.
Oh no!
Oh no!
He's the Voldemort of the Namekian group.
I'm sure there's 1,000 other analogies we could come up with than that, but yes.
So he's, strange in that he has these weird magic abilities when it comes to the Dragon Balls. Like, even if they're turned to stone, he's like, nah, we can just use them again. And I can bring them over here. It's fine. Just doing weird stuff. So I was going to say, maybe he needs the Dragon Balls or something, but like, he made them and he's some weird Dragon Ball wizard. So like, why would he, be like, well, now I'll just tag along with these kids who are going to defeat the Tamagami so we can get the Dragon Balls, but then I take them and I don't know, do something. Now I'm the demon realm king and I get all of my people back here and we all fuse into one, but I'm in charge and I'm super strong.
In a better story, I think it would go somewhere like that, but I really think this is going to be his big twist. We already saw it, is that he's actually not senile. He's in control and he's just a kooky old man now, and he just has that naivety that he wishes people would come back, but they're not really.
Yeah, Doug, you might be right.
He doesn't have communication with the outside Namekians, right? So for all he knows, they're probably in turmoil and waiting to come back. But then he realizes Piccolo's gonna be like, no, they're actually happy in where they're at. He's like, okay, maybe I'll join them.
We had this one hiccup where like everyone died except for one guy.
Almost happened twice. Whatever.
Yeah.
Doug, I think you're right. I think if this were a 40, again, we don't technically know how long the series is, but I think if it were a 40 episode series, then yes, I think there would be more room to maybe have more twists and turns. So maybe this is all we're going to get with Neva.
Yeah.
And I do like your idea that maybe he thinks that they're having a bad time of it in the outside world.
He's actually genuinely like making sure the planet's fine for when they come back. He's just a really nice guy.
Oh, you mean you guys already had the foretold famine? And it passed? And you're still around? All right, I'm on my way.
Oh, yeah. Who knew the Dragon Balls could be so useful in that scenario?
Yeah, who knew?
So we touched on this briefly about the whole Koo always having wanted a brother and to fight over snacks and stuff.
Love it.
But he's only been around for like 3 hours maximum. It reminded me of how GT was with the dragons, right?
Yeah.
Like the San and Shi being brothers.
Yeah.
Come on. What are we doing?
Let's just say what it is. Him saying, oh, I always wanted a brother to fight over snacks with. That's funny because he's only been around for 3 hours. It's a joke. It's great. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I will never speak ill of Koo and Do.
Yeah. I mean, saying, it's also, it's funny and also in character for like his personality, what he's given us so far. He does seem like that teenage kind of person when he's like, I can have a brother. Yes, let's go. Like, it's so great.
I would love to know what Marba's naming. Like, she's the laziest namer of all time.
Yeah. Is it actually a system or like, because Arensu asked her, like, what's this one's name? And she just goes,
she's like, it's Majin Koo.
Majin
Koo.
She's got the Dead Sea Scrolls.
You're going to run out of letters after 26 of them. 23 now.
I had, in the last episode, I called about how Arinsu is kind of like in gag territory right now. And I think that might change with episode 13. And listeners, if it has changed, you actually don't know yet because the next episode's getting pushed back. So we're going to be slow. We're going to be caught up for a brief moment for once. And we may not stay in this territory, but I really like that at least for this whole part, it stays a gag thing. Like when Do shows up and he does that Arale Nsha thing.
Yeah, Nsha!
And then Arinsu and Marba both also like freak out and then do it right back. It just totally deflates any kind of imposing nature she might have. And I mean that in a really great way because I love where we're at with this character.
I love antagonists like this that have personality and not just are always like have their shit together, I guess. Like I love these kind of antagonists because at a certain point you start rooting for them too a little bit too. Like watching Majin Do fighting the Tamagotchi, I'm like, yes, let's go, let's get him. Like I'm on their side.
Yeah,
Tamagami, I know.
I think many of us liked Arinsu from the beginning for obvious reasons. But to have her like legitimately become one of the best parts of the show with her new sidekicks and Marba, this lazy witch with the names, it's fun. And every time we cut back to Arinsu and those two goofballs, I always know that I'm in for a good time.
Yeah, so every time the switch happens, I'm not like, oh, let's get the B plot. I'm like, no, this the second A plot is what I'm looking at it as. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Koo finally gets to show off his ability to run errands because he goes and he gets some chocolate, which is and just a good callback. And then we're going straight to two dueling Tamagami fights, right? So we're getting Do versus Tamagami 1, and then Vegeta versus Tamagami 2. I don't know if you guys... We talked about Koo's fighting style last episode, in that I said he seemed like he was using a martial arts version of the way that Pure Boo fought, but Do fights very reminiscently, specifically of Toyotaro's Boo when he fought Moro.
Toyotaro's Boo, okay.
And that he's using gags in the way that he fights. Like, remember...
Yeah, I was thinking Pure Boo.
When Boo fought Moro, right? Remember, he's popping his gloves off, and the gloves are like holding and punching Moro and stuff.
So cool.
That felt to me like the kind of stuff Do was doing here. Like Do would go in for a punch and then stop, and then suddenly swing his body around, or like swirl his head around a sword, and pull his head in, and it all felt very much like the way Toyotaro knew to use Boo.
Well, for me, it's not too familiar. I mean, I just read the Toyotaro stuff, but more familiar with Dragon Ball canon. He does seem more like Pure Boo in that aspect to me too. Where like that's how Pure Boo was fighting.
I'm saying
Goku.
I'm saying Do feels like Fat Boo to me.
No, I'm saying Do feels like skinny young Pure Boo.
All right,
you can both,
especially like the head plopped down after a beam was being his own beam or whatever. Oh, no, I think that was
no, that was Kid Boo against I think Super Saiyan 3 Goku on the in the Kaioshin place.
Especially the like the swirly body. I even have a figure.
That's how we know.
Not this one.
No, that's
not this one.
Doug just pulled out a bootleg Kid Boo figure, Pure Boo.
It's a third party,
not
bootleg.
Same thing.
You can't see it, but trust me, it's there.
Trust me, bro.
And listeners, you were never going to see it.
I'm opening it right now for the viewers, all right? Just so you can see the body.
Opening a box! That's right, it's third party, doesn't matter.
There's that twirly body right there.
All right, that's when he does like a little taunt,
I just now need to just paint this one green, and I got a Majin Do. And make it a little fatter, but yeah.
So Pansy is now #1 enemy for all Vegeta fans. Because she says, I don't know how strong he is, referring to Vegeta, but he's not as strong as Goku, right? And then Bulma's like, well, we'll see.
That's for all the Vegeta fans to be like, she doesn't know. Like, it's okay.
Well, he didn't get insulted by it, so he's just like, it's kind of how it's always been, and I'm okay with that.
He's used to it and like can't wait to prove them wrong. Is Vegeta's attitude,
and just confidence in himself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get what I think is possibly the best joke in all of modern Dragon Ball.
Really?
And I'm going to misquote it, but Degasu says something, and now the spiky-haired one is fighting. And then Gomah says, there's two people with spiky hair.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
They're in different directions. It's okay.
What's your read on Tamagami
are
number
they.
2? Because when he first showed up, he seemed very crass at Vegeta, and then all of a sudden, when he noticed Neva was around, he kind of like tightened it up a little bit.
Well, it's his daddy. You know, he wants to not be a bad boy. He's like, oh, I gotta be, impress my dad.
I think that also made me think about the whole kid wish thing, where like turning him into a kid isn't necessarily a weakness thing in this realm. But yeah, what was your take on it, Ken? What do you mean?
I just don't know, because the way he's introduced, he was like, "What, kid, go home and suck on your mama's teats," and then he immediately like pulls it back, and then he's kind of like reserved the whole time, but in a different way from Tamagami 1. I don't like Tamagami 3 was very boisterous and voiced by All Might from My Hero Academia.
Oh yeah,
and very much his own personality, but I'm having a hard time articulating how 1 and 2 are different. And so to me, 2 is just more crass. 1 is more stoic. I don't know.
I think Randy nailed it with like daddy's watching. So like shut off and just focus.
If I'm being honest, I'm asking this because I need a way to describe them for the Kanzenshuu Wiki. So I
really? Yeah. No, I mean these two that are on the same episode, I can't really tell a difference between personality wise. Whereas the first one definitely had a different. The first one we saw definitely had a different, more unique personality.
Yeah. There's no music at the beginning of the Vegeta and Tamagami 2 fight, which I really liked.
Enjoyable.
Just kind of let that breathe, because there were a lot of times in Dragon Ball and Z when there wouldn't be any music for a little while.
Yeah.
And then the Kukichi would jump in, Doug.
Kukichi.
Can one of you explain to the audience Water Vegeta?
Oh, gladly. Against Imperfect Cell. What do you mean? What do you mean explain his techniques or his ability to breathe underwater?
Something I've been seeing going around lately is what I hope is a joke, is that Saiyans get like a boost when they're underwater.
They hear disturbed when they're down there.
I guess, yeah. Just based on stuff, and I don't even remember what fight, but it was on Namek, Vegeta underwater, and he was like, all of a sudden was fighting better or something, and then there's stuff in Super where Goku, a Super Saiyan God, is underwater and comes back. I don't know.
I would love that kind of headcanon, but...
I was hoping one of you two could explain it better to me, because when I see it, I'm like, this is stupid, and I scroll past it.
This is my first time hearing about it, so no, I don't know. I would love to know more, because I love headcanon dumb stuff like that.
Listener, if you are here and you know all the deets on Water Vegeta, please let us know below.
Enlighten us.
Yeah. And I'm up to the end of my notes, Randy. And I skipped a bunch of stuff because I know you're ready to go on the next
when Goku was underwater when Frieza was holding Goku down underwater, he gained that new boost, the new Zenkai boost.
I just want to say I warned Randy going into this that I had way too many notes on episode 11. Listener, if you don't know, but Randy's got his head up against his microphone. He's defeated. He's done. He's ready to go.
And this is Ken picking and choosing. He didn't say everything on his notes. He's picking and choosing the key ones to talk about.
It's New Year's Eve. I woke up at noon today. I'm having a good time.
God, I woke up at 6:30.
My sleep schedule is off. I went to bed last night at like 10 a.m. I went to bed 2 nights ago.
It's been like 8:30 for the last few days, and then randomly today, well, it's because I didn't take any melatonin, I assume. I was like, no, it's 6:30. Let's just get up. I'm like, no, fine. It's good that you have a lot of notes. There just might be this episode might be front loaded talking about 11, because 12 is just kind of all fighting, which is fun, but like, what can you say about it? We're looking at Ken's notes.
Let's see, is that episode 12?
It's not as many. That's episode 12, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, he reached the bottom pretty quickly. Okay.
All right. Okay. So that's 11, Legend. And now we can move into episode 12, True Strength.
Vegeta tangles with the Kraken before resuming his fight, transforming into a Super Saiyan, and then again into Super Saiyan 2 to up the ante. Neva, noticing how much these people love a challenging fight, uses his magic to power up Tamagami number 2 and really push Vegeta. Majin Koo continues his own fight against Tamagami number 1 before needing chocolate to keep up his strength. Koo, ever the helpful brother, gets him what he needs to get back into the ring, with Koo winning in the game of strength that surprises everyone that Koo manages to solve the math challenge and earn Arinsu and company the Dragon Ball. Vegeta, though, has yet to win his fight until he shows off that he has recently achieved Super Saiyan 3. With this new form of his, Vegeta handily wins against Tamagami number 2 before succeeding in solving the riddle to grant them their second Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Are you serious? This is what happened in this episode?
I can't believe it. I've been waiting. My canon has been now officially become canon.
Stop joking, because that's me this episode. Like, I was just on the couch to Andrew. I'm like, everything I've wanted has come true. Vegeta won a fight. He achieved this form, finally, that has only been in video games.
It's this Raging Blast crowd that really loves this, eats this stuff up.
now, first it was in Dragon Battlers, which was the thing before
No one
Heroes.
played that.
Japanese kids did, Doug.
Wasn't Raging
Japanese
Blast
kids?
before Heroes?
No. Well,
Oh, really?
I mean, yes, but Battlers, which was the card game before Heroes.
So the very niche card game that you can only play at Japanese arcade games.
It's like Card
Arcade
Ass and
machines.
then Battlers
Yeah.
and then
What'd you call me?
Heroes and now Super Dragon Ball Heroes and now Divers.
Regardless,
said
the majority of the world saw it in Raging Blast, Randy. You can't deny that.
Anyway.
Doug, remember that one figure arts they were going to make, but then they never did?
Dude, they never did, and now they have to. Well,
No.
actually, it's gonna be an official one. Will be made.
Yeah, we'll get a
The
better
official
one.
one, the official pre-order for not pre-order, but I guess the announcement for the SH Figure Arts Super Saiyan 3 Daima Vegeta went up the same day as this episode released. That's so wild.
So I woke up in the morning because to watch this. My family was visiting. My family was still here at my house. And I was like, I'm going in the office. I need to watch Dragon Ball live today. I closed the door and I sat down and I watched it as it aired in Japan because we are now in the territory. I think we made it like 11 episodes where it never really seemed like there was anything in the show. I mean, be honest, worth spoiling. It's just a story that's happening. I think we're past that now. And if you are not watching this as it airs in Japan and you think it's a good idea to log on to the internet before you watch it or have your eyes open when you're trying to scroll to it on Hulu, like it's game
You're gonna
over
get
for
spoiled.
you.
Yeah.
We are.
I mean,
the Dragon Ball
just
official site, as soon as the episode ended, put up about Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. They do not care if you're waiting for the official English
the
subs.
SH Figure Arts is just up there that day. Like, it's not like a spoiler tag. It's just, it was just there, just for a figure.
You got comfortable not thinking the show had spoilers.
Yeah.
And
now
it
it's
bit you
time to tune in.
In the ass. Right. So what I mean by this is, Randy, were you spoiled going in?
I had no idea that this was happening. I wasn't on the internet. I wasn't checking
That's
anything.
great.
It's just not a thing that I really do anymore. And it looks like I'm making the right decisions. But I did watch this episode pretty darn quick, once it hits streaming. Sometimes I'm later in the afternoon, but this time I was like, all right, I'm going to make lunch and it's out. I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. So find a way, and I'm talking to the audience, and you guys too, if you care. Find a way to watch the show in Japanese or stay off the internet. And that's as simple as that.
Until the later on in the same day. Like, we're not saying like stay off the internet forever. It's just
a couple
now
hours.
comes on the same day in America.
Yeah, we need you on the internet or else you can't watch the show. So we need you to come back and check YouTube.
But don't look. Well, our episodes come out normally on Wednesdays, so it's okay. You're not going to be spoiled by jumping on YouTube to look for our show and just be like inundated
Just take that Wi-Fi off and then on again. You got it.
Yeah, just unplug it, plug it back in later. It's fine. You're going to be good.
Did you guys notice? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I had nothing really to say. That was just kind of filling the air. So you go ahead.
Sure. There was a lot of weird, like, depth of field flashing in this episode.
Really?
Did you notice it? Like, the camera trying to, like, fake a refocus.
I wish I
and
noticed
stuff was
like
moving
that.
around.
I probably
watch it
noticed,
again.
but I don't remember.
During
It's like
the battle specifically?
for like 2 frames, it'll blur and then it comes out.
Yeah.
And it just
They've
looked
done that a few
wonky
times.
as hell.
Maybe it's an aesthetic choice to make it look, but probably not giving the effect to you because you notice it, but to the untrained eye, it probably looks a lot cooler.
I dig it.
Cooler, sorry. Yeah,
That's right.
Movie 6.
And 5.
Now, we talked about this during Mario Kart. And so, again, listener, we talk about Mario Kart a lot here because every Saturday night, us 3 get together with Mike, Vegeta EX from Kanzenshu, and several other people. And generally, because this is Saturday night, we all really want to talk about Daima that we just watched. And so you're getting a lot of hot takes on this. And so what I'm about to say is kind of regurgitating some of the stuff we talked about then, but hopefully Randy and Doug have had more time to sit with this concept I brought up. So www.grabyournearest.com every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern for like our freshest Daima takes, okay?
Yeah.
And then you come back here for our stale Daima takes.
Refined is what you wanted to use.
Yeah, of course. I brought up the idea of during this episode, aside from Vegeta saying that he's only tripping up because he's not used to having a child's body. I was like, I could just have forgotten that Vegeta had been turned into a kid.
Right, me too.
Because
Yeah.
to me, Vegeta is being so well written as Vegeta, Piccolo for the most part as Piccolo, Bulma as Bulma, but Goku is not being written as Goku. He's being written as Kid Goku.
Kid Goku, absolutely. I've noticed this since the beginning, and I'm like, you were for a minute there. You were like, no, I don't know, but yeah.
It's especially noticeable now that we have our other cast members back to be able to compare it against them. And so I just kind of wanted to, I brought this up on Saturday, but I was just wondering if you guys had any thoughts about it, of kind of him being the outside on that.
I feel like he's written like Super Goku, where Super Goku is more like the turn back, dialed down to a kid again kind of logic, even as an adult body, you know?
All right. I'm going to drop something on you here, guys. So just because you have the memories that you had as an adult, now you're being turned into a child's body. Granted, this has never happened in real life before, so it's not really based in science.
You're making me sound suspicious, Randy.
But I'm saying, there's a developmental part to your brain over time. Like, you're not really a fully fledged, like, super good brain until you're age 25. So if you're under the age of 25, I'm sorry, I'm insulting you. You're not yet fully baked. So
you have room to grow.
A little bit more time. You do. You have a little bit more time to grow. But what I'm trying to say is like Goku probably, his glands and things in his brain not fully formed. Also, the brain damage is very recent for Goku.
That's
true. Him hitting his head on the...
Yes.
I was just going to say that Ken mentioning that the other characters are there too, and they're acting normal, but in contrast, maybe because he hit his head.
All right. You know what, Randy? That was enough for me.
Yeah,
take it.
He hit his head a week ago.
It's not that his body is turning young. It's returning back to that time when he was that age, and at that age, his head had just had a concussion. Yeah. Like years and years ago, but still more recently, right? Like it was when he was like 1 or 2.
It wasn't just a concussion. I mean, he changed his entire personality.
You know what? I don't want to kill everyone on this planet.
Yeah, I'm a good boy now.
But
I'm glad I could flip it. Glad I could flip it for you, Ken.
We get an incredible Super Saiyan 2 transformation here. And not that it's like, I'll say it's incredible in the way that it's presented, right? The Kraken puts Vegeta in his mouth, and then it's just like flashing his body as he's powering up to Super Saiyan 2, and then he comes out as Super Saiyan 2. I'm like, hell yeah, that's awesome. And like making a point to show us that he did it, and not just like with the Tamagami 3 fight, where it's like, I guess we went Super Saiyan 2 somewhere here.
And putting in full display like the electricity, just to, like, because fans know that's the way to distinguish.
Yeah,
with Vegeta specifically.
Yeah, because there's no other tell for him. Goku, like, he only has 3 bangs instead of 5.
Yeah.
And it's great here because after Vegeta does this, the Kraken's he yawns and he's like, whatever. And he just leaves.
Yes, I love that when he's just like, screw this, I'm out here.
And then we see him again later in the episode and he's just like asleep on his back in the water.
I love that kind of stuff. But doesn't that interfere? In the same episode, they're like mentioning how Neva was like, yeah, I guess Vegeta can battle him as long as it's still 1-on-1. But then the Kraken comes along. Doesn't that make it 2-on-1? Doesn't that make it a little on?
Kraken is like when you're playing like Mortal Kombat and there's like a stage environment factor that comes into play. So it's still 1v1.
I guess.
But the Kraken's like a stage element.
It's a stage element. Okay, I like that. Okay, I can forgive that.
They're not playing on Final Destination, no weapons.
Yeah, items are so turned on.
Just because the realm we're in and like what demons are like intellectual and what aren't. Like, so you're saying this Kraken isn't intellectual; it's just a freaking creature. I guess.
Yeah, why not?
I'll take it.
We don't know that.
That's true.
Well, we know that because otherwise it would be 2-on-1.
He would have tried to eat the Tamagami if he could.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that Vegeta looked tastier because he's flesh. Vegeta's doing this thing during this fight where he's using Super Saiyan 2 in bursts.
Oh,
where he's like, there's moments where, well, again, it's hard to tell with Vegeta, right? But there are points in this fight after he goes Super Saiyan 2 where he doesn't have his electricity and then he'll like burst into it. And then he has his electricity again. And then he does like an attack.
I just figured that's to not be annoying to the viewer of just constantly hearing or just the sparking.
Like boost the effect of that particular clip scene.
Or just to make it look more visually.
Unless Ken has a lore thing about the dropper on us, right? Or not lore, but a reason.
This kind of thing is already in character for Vegeta to do, like when he fights Moro and when he fights Goku Black, sorry, and he's in the manga, Doug, and he's using Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue interchangeably, switching back and forth between each one.
Right, but there's a reason for that. With this, there's the energy
Super
consumption.
Saiyan 2 doesn't. Yes.
Yeah, energy consumption, I guess, is more stressful, but then that doesn't go in line with his future transformation now of Super Saiyan 3, because that's just constant energy consumption, right?
But, so we'll get... Randy, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we don't really ever get a thing that says, oh, the drawback for Super Saiyan 2 is that it's more strenuous. They're just kind of like, no, this is kind of really the perfected form of things because we show, but if you put too much into strength, you get, grade 3 and you're really slow and that sucks. But then Gohan achieves this one where it's kind of like, oh no, he's very strong and he's very fast. There's no downside. And there's nobody that's like, oh man, 2 is really dragging me down. This sucks. Like I can only do this for so long, because that's kind of the differentiation. With 3, massive power boost. You don't get any, you don't lose speed like you did in grade 3, but like you can't do it for very long with a mortal body. It's not going to last very long. So like,
right.
I don't really see why they would need to do bursts for Super Saiyan 2.
For Super Saiyan 2 specifically, yeah.
I agree that there is no explicit thing, but I think it is implicit, because why would you not just go Super Saiyan 2 right from the start?
I think Toriyama specifically missed the ball with this and got lost in the sauce where he named it 1 and 2, because now in all our minds we're like, okay, this is step 1 and then step 2, whereas no, 2 is just like right into the perfected form of a Super Saiyan, right? But then Toriyama loses that and it's like, no, 1 in its purest form is the more
I see what you're saying, right? Like it should have just been like, this is like, had we not had that other form called full power Super Saiyan, right? Then this would have been like full power or perfected Super Saiyan. Like I understand what you're saying.
Instead of calling it 2, yeah.
But a name is a name. So
yeah.
But keep in mind, they don't call these things that. That's just what Goku says one time. He's like, let's just, for explaining it to Babidi. So it's just, whatever. But I get where you're coming from, Doug,
but it bleeds through
like,
into the story as well and how Toriyama makes it.
Right. Because if they've achieved this perfected one, why bother going into the first one? Why?
Right. And then make a big deal of Goku at the end with the Genki Dama against Pure Buu at the end, just going Super Saiyan 1.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason I kind of touch on this is that we're about to dive into Super Saiyan 3, right? And Super Saiyan 3 is this massive power draw that you have. But the way that Vegeta fights when he's using Super Saiyan 3 is in a very controlled manner, right? He's
not using a lot of movements?
He's moving his body as little as he can. Like he's making a point to keep his arms crossed when he's doing all of this. He's almost moving. He's almost moving it in kind of like an Ultra Instinct type way. And so the idea that he would be switching in and out of Super Saiyan 2 is to conserve energy that way. If there's like an implicit reason why he's not using it all the time. So that's all I'm saying. I'm in favor of this because I think it works well with the next step that he takes going Super Saiyan 3. This is rare. I'm praising the show.
Right.
And the way this fight was written.
And Vegeta. No, we love Vegeta.
No, I always love Vegeta, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super good.
Now we get real interference, though, because Neva powers up Tamagami number 2, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. Again, I love it. Okay, guys,
it makes sense.
Dragon Ball Daima might actually be great, okay? Because
heard it here first.
Neva interfering in this fight because he heard that the Saiyans have like this battle tendency, right?
Yeah.
That's the name of the second JoJo opening. Randy, thank you.
It's true. Yep.
It's one of the best.
Even though all he did was look at you like, that's a JoJo reference.
Yeah, is this a JoJo reference? Yeah, and the answer is yes. So he powers him up, and Piccolo's like, "What are you doing?" Or no, Glorio says, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I heard they like to fight," or I'm just giving him a better fight. Yeah, it's so good. I think that's why, because up to something, but
I think I love that just because there's a little setup, like you said prior to that, where the Neva finds out, they like fighting, so then there's this. A lot of my grievances with the show prior is stuff when stuff just happens without that little seed planted in there a little earlier. When this is there, even like dumb stuff like just like that I love it just because it's a seed's been planted.
Yeah, it's a wonder what you can get away with if you just foreshadow it a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
You can do whatever you want in a story. You can have Goku turn into a tiger halfway through this arc if you set it up right.
If you set it up right. If two episodes ago, while Vegeta and them were like scouring around the planet, they ran into a snake. I would love the test that happens later. But because he doesn't, I hate this. We'll get into that later.
We'll get into that.
We cut back to Do versus Tamagami 1. Randy, I'm sorry. I'm high energy because I woke up late today. So I'm just kind of barreling through this.
You're the one with the whole bunch of notes. You're the one with the whole bunch of notes. I didn't rewatch these episodes. So I just kind of like, let's just quick read through some things. So no, by all means, take it away.
Earlier I said I felt like there was a scene missing or a shot missing. And now I remember why going through my notes. When we're back at the Do versus Tamagami 1 fight, when all of the military police come out, there's like this one random lady who has a very bespoke design and like the Ma katakana on her chest. Like, what's her deal? Who is, like, clearly she has a very specific design meant just for her, and she's in a few shots. So, like, what is her deal? Who is she? Is she in some different cut of this, reacting to something that we never got to see?
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
Exactly. But when I show you a picture of her, you're going to be like, how did I miss that? She's right there in the middle of the screen.
Military police coming at all. That whole scene.
Well, because the military police showing up is what clues us into the fact that everyone inside the castle is now aware of what's going on outside, which is when Gomah and Degasu start tuning in. Because previously they were just watching Vegeta.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So, Doug, well, I'm going to keep going, but if you just kind of flick through there, you'll see that random lady, yeah. Okay, Toyotaro has gotten a lot of grief for drawing things from previous Dragon Ball iconic shots, and there are no less than 4 in this episode of them kind of like reusing iconic moments from Dragon Ball. The first of which being Koo with his iconic Kuririn Senzu throw, but instead it's the chocolate that he's thrown to do.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get through we'll go through the others as we.
Like.
Yeah, of course, yeah, and I'm fine with it. I'm just like, if people are going to be fine with this and not fine with Toyotaro, like, check your attitude at the door. All right, okay.
I think it's easier to do then because it's still shots. It's a manga page. You can put one on one together. When it's this, it's more of a fluid motion that goes by too quick for you to study it like that.
I just want to say that it is super great for Ken to use this opportunity talking about Dragon Ball Daima to also get in a Toyotaro defense. I love it. It's good because I also really like Toyotaro. But yeah.
I'm a Toyotaro stan now myself after reading the Super manga.
But this is what finally clues Gomah in to that Arinsun's been moving against him, and now he knows for sure that this has been happening.
Yeah. I'm surprised it took him this long, but yeah.
Tamagami 1 gives up, and now it's time for mental arithmetic, boys. Everyone's favorite thing. Okay.
Did this happen in the first Tamagami?
Yes.
It was the ball thing under the.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I completely forgot about that. So this seems so random to me when it happened.
So I am gonna show here in this moment that I'm willing to judge things I've said in the past kind of harshly.
Sure.
When we were doing the Tamagami 3 fight, and I was talking about the cups, I said the cups felt like this was the Toriyama thing and that the fight was just tacked on, right? After seeing how these other 2 fights have gone, I now would like to retract that. And like the cups still feel like probably what had the most Toriyama writing behind them.
Yeah.
Input. And then maybe the fight was like, and then a fight happens. But these are still very different because also these fights feel like they have more going on in them. They're more interesting fights. Like the Goku and Tamagami 3 fight was just like, let's have all the Sakuga happen and then the fight's over, right? But here, these are fights that feel like they're moving forward in a way and not just something's happening. So I'd like to take that back. You know, obviously these fights, everything was structured here because I feel there's more of the Toriyama involvement in these 2 fights, which means that there had to have been some in the first one. So,
okay. Does it? Okay.
Some I didn't say as much.
With this one, the Tamagami against Majin Do was to show Do's personality. Like that was the story beat.
Right.
With the first one, we already know who Goku is, and then we're just fighting this thing. With the other Tamagami, it's to showcase Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. So they both have their purposes, but the first one still. The fight didn't have a purpose.
And the Tamagami 2 fight is also showing what Neva can do, and Neva kind of understanding what Saiyans are all about.
Yeah.
And the do stuff is also happening, which is alerting Gomah to what's going on. So these are what Doug and I are talking about when we've been complaining about fights that don't have any movement, because these are the fights that do, right? And so you see what I mean here, I would hope, listener, that this is the kind of stuff we want from the show. And that this is why I'm loving it. I was griping a whole bunch about Namekian nonsense because they think they were getting clever with pulling certain things
that's
out.
That's the one thing. It's like, that you pointed that out. Like, they think they're getting clever, but not really.
But I legitimately loved this episode and most of the last one. So, Koo, dude, again, Koo is just the best because Duke has the face with the cup thing, right? And Goku had that like locked in expression. Do also has that
locked in,
but it's not there. And Koo's behind the scenes, and you see like going back and watching it, I didn't notice that you're seeing Koo's eyes as he's watching it as well.
Yep.
And then you see like the reflection of the numbers in Koo's eyes, and then Koo's just like, "Here's the number," and he gives it to him.
Yeah.
And it's so good. I love them so much.
What a great pair.
And then he doesn't like push when Dr. Arnsu, when he's talking to her, like, "Hey, I helped too, my assist." And she's like, "You didn't do anything." He's like, he doesn't need that. Like, he's like, "I'm there for my brother," kind of thing. And he can have all the credit. It's so sweet and cute.
And we see Tamagami 1, who's been very serious up to this point, go like, "Correct," and do like a little pose. Just cute, so cute. So
I had just rewatched Squid Games, and they do that too whenever they pass one of the games. It's like, that's so weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's definitely a cultural thing. Like, you got it. I mean, of course, the circle and the X, they use a lot more in Japanese culture than we do in America.
Yeah, and Squid Game is Korean, I'm pretty sure.
Controller, like circle being the yes button and the X being backwards? I forget, whatever.
Nope, you got it.
Oh, no, that's how it is in the Japanese PS2, but for American PS2, they switched it. But yeah.
That's why it's always hard to go back and play Metal Gear Solid 1, because they can have circle as select, and you're like, "Oh, damn it."
Yeah.
Degasu, to me, at this point, seems like he's protecting Arinsu. Because he's
not saying his thoughts out loud to
he's like starts sweating more watching what's going on. He's like, "Arinsu, what are you doing?" But then he tells Gomah, he's like, well, maybe she's just trying to protect the Dragon Ball, Like, no big deal.
Yeah. There's that line where he's like trying to think of a reason. Maybe
he's trying to give her the benefit of the doubt.
Right. But it also is their first time discovering this, so he's trying to reason himself, like, why could she be doing this? As opposed to just defending her. But yeah, I get both are probable.
So we're now in Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta territory for realsies. We've been jumping around a whole bunch. Goku says, "Oh, come on, when did he learn how to do that?" And Bulma says he's been training by himself for so long. So again,
a year.
Let me preface this as we preface this during Mario Kart. I am perfectly okay with Vegeta using Super Saiyan 3, being able to achieve it, and specifically using it in this fight. But let's talk about Vegeta and forms with the number 3 in it, okay?
Let's go, baby.
The Cell arc implies that Vegeta had realized Super Saiyan Grade 3, but knew better than to use it because of its drawbacks. It's a whole thing where the Trunks has this realization. Similarly, because of Super Saiyan 3's own drawbacks, Super Saiyan 3 seems like something that he would just never use.
Right.
But on that same note, here he uses it as a final gambit, and with as little movement as possible to conserve its insane power draw. So to me, in this like very specific circumstance,
this nugget
is perfect. I love it.
Right, because
I don't want to see him.
He has it in his arsenal, and he needed to. He needed some kind of boost in power, and so he used that.
I don't want this to become like his thing though, because this is not a Vegeta thing.
Throws out my entire headcanon that you needed to be some kind of mythical entity to even achieve the form. Like, because with Goku, he was dead. And with Gotenks, it's a freaking fusion. It's a whole mythical humanoid thing. But yeah, now Vegeta, any Saiyan can use it. If Vegeta can use it, any Saiyan can use it.
Right, because it's, it has a drawback, much like Grade 3 did. But the thing with Grade 3 is its drawback was so severe in that it wasn't going to balance out and make it actually work. So it's like, I could do that, and I'll be stronger, but I still can't win. Super Saiyan 3, it has a power draw issue where it's like you have to do this fast because you're going to get tired very quickly, but I can work with that. If I can beat it in time, then it's okay. So
All right.
it makes sense.
So here's the next, some might say homage, some might say ripoff. Vegeta straight up doing the Goku versus Trunks' sword thing. Like, come on, it's the exact same thing of him doing it.
Same camera angle.
I didn't pick up on that. What are you talking about?
When Tamagami number 2 is like taking his javelin and like poking it at Vegeta.
Vegeta's doing the thing.
Yeah, with his little fingy.
But he does grab it at the end and then break it, which is...
I mean, they had to do some twist. Yeah,
they had to do something cool. Yeah.
He uses the Gallic cannon with no name. So
17 of that.
Randy, maybe Vegeta is still using Final Flash against Raccoon. He just didn't use it by name. Could be. Then we get another reference to the iconic original show where Vegeta like catches Tamagami 2 with one hand and kind of holds him in midair, which is what he does with Second Form Cell. In that
when he
fight,
like
where he just kind of like puts his hand on him.
Yeah.
Again, it's the same thing. Toyotaro haters, you're on notice, okay?
And that was on the cover of my box set of Imperfect Cell DVD box set back in the old days when you had 3 episodes per disc. On the box set of that Imperfect Cell saga was that image
hand on him.
Yeah.
And then we get the final challenge in which it's like a word puzzle, one of those things you do in math class, right? And so Vegeta has to track all these amounts of biscuits and everything. And even me sitting there, I'm also trying to like do the math and stuff.
Same.
Yeah.
And then you end up with 3 or something at the end of that. But then the question asked is, how many was the snake able to eat? And then there's all this drama behind it. And then Vegeta, of course, has 0. Snakes don't eat biscuits. And it's like, oh, dude, hell yeah. Trick questions.
Snakes. So snakes of the demon realm are the same snakes as in the human realm. We're saying that. Like, that's the one thing that throws me. Like,
well,
snakes are universal in every planet, every universe, every realm.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
He answers this under great, like, there's, the stress is on as just as the Tamagami is counting down to 0 and Vegeta says 0 and then he says the reason, but there's like a sweat drop on his face and they're like, you got the Dragon Ball. He's like, This is kind of
it was like a gamble. It was a big gamble.
Yeah, he's like, I have no effing clue, and I'm going to say a number, and I'm going to try and rationalize it. And turns out that's right.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna, but I'm not gonna brag about it because, like, I really did just guess.
Yeah. This is what I mean when I meant, like, I wish there was just a little seed planted a little earlier where he like met a snake or something, or like they're roaming around the wilderness or whatever. They could have encountered a snake, and just like a little like 2-second clip of just like Vegeta looking at it or something, and then cut. Like that was a weird thing to show Vegeta with the snake, but then, or the group with the snake or whatever, but to then have this payoff.
I don't have any issue with that. The issue I do kind of have is Vegeta saying we had snakes on planet Vegeta too.
Oh, is that what he said? I think that's what it was too. Yeah, that even threw it even more for a loop. Like, that's why every planet has that kind of snakes.
Well, I mean, Vegeta has a 9-year-old son, so there's a high chance Trunks is into snakes. And he has lived on Earth for the past 13 years, where he has now lived on Earth longer than he lived on planet Vegeta.
It's true.
And guess what? There are also snakes on Earth. So
yeah, you know, he could have seen like, oh yeah, they're the same.
To me, this again is one of those things of like, we know that Vegeta used to live on planet Vegeta, and they just saying it without understanding the implications. That's all.
Right.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, whatever. To me, it's a line that doesn't really mean anything. It's just a line that we didn't need to have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the next callback. It's Vegeta yelling at Goku, which happens in the Buu arc when they're on the Kaioshin realm. I think it's when they're trying to talk about like Elder Kaioshin getting to grab Bulma's boobs or something like that. So, I forget the exact thing.
It's that face though, yeah.
Yeah, Vegeta. Yeah. So again, Toyotaro haters, I don't want to hear it. But what I do want to hear about, guys, is what is the point of the ship having issues and then Pansy fixing the ship?
You know, I would think it would be something just like so Bulma could see and be like, oh, okay, somebody just like me. That's great. I like that. But we don't get a reaction. So it's
nothing.
So hopefully it's one of those patented Doug seeds.
Oh, yeah, hopefully. But I'm also not a fan of the whole I'm good at machines, just broad stroke. I'm good at machines character that just looks into a machine and like, it's fixed. It's like, I don't like that. But it's when I have to turn my brain off and like, this is a kid's show. So just don't think about that part too much.
My thoughts are, one of them is like sabotaging it for a reason that I don't think would be entirely clear. Like, we know that Glorio has been working with Arinsu. I don't know what help it would be to staying on the second world would help them in whatever plan they might be doing.
At this moment, we don't have any indication that Glorio knows that Arinsu has the first Dragon Ball yet.
Right. She hasn't had time to give him a call.
Right.
Yeah.
They could call, but we haven't seen that or had time, maybe.
So him sabotaging them at this point doesn't seem like...
Also, what are Gomah and Dogasu doing right now? They're not interfering or anything. They're just chilling and watching in panic.
Well, Gomah is now become a cornered rat, right? And the cornered rat bites the cat, which is the name of a chapter of Dragon Ball, when they're all fighting Nappa, I believe. But so now he is now aware that 3 Dragon Balls, they're all have been taken.
Right.
And these guys who he thought turning them into kids would do nothing to them, now they're definitely going to be able to do something. And remember, they early on, they set up Gomah as a trickster Majin or whatever. He's got like these powers, but we don't really know what they are yet. So I think we're in for some crazy stuff the next few episodes.
I wonder if there's more payoff because they keep Pansy she keeps mentioning how like, oh, they know magic when it like Ki is so familiar to us from this series that it doesn't feel like it. So I'm wondering if there's going to be some kind of payoff where magic plays more a role in their realm.
Planting the seed for you, Doug. So that way later when Goku does something totally crazy and like magic based, people aren't going to call BS and be like, he can't do that. He doesn't know man. Like, guys, Ki has always just been this, and just like get over it. Like, that's the reason why it's okay.
One of the things I'm very interested in looking at when the series is over, I'm going to rewatch the whole thing again. And as we've been going along these episodes, I've said stuff like, this is a Chekhov's gun, this is a Chekhov's gun, this is a Chekhov's gun. And I'm wondering how many of those are actually going to pan out.
Are actually going to fire.
True.
But that's it for me with these episodes,
Yeah.
Really
good
fun
stuff. Yeah, I really enjoy these 2 episodes. This is making me look forward to more episodes, which is the job of a show, is to make you look forward to the next one.
Right. And the next one seems to be, very adventurous. Granted, we only get a few seconds of a preview. And sometimes the thing that they show is not the whole thing. Like there was that one before Thieves, which is like, okay, they're going to get the Dragon Ball stolen and it's a big deal. And it's like, that was barely the first half of that episode. There was a whole bunch of other stuff that happened in that one. So, they're kind of running around doing a thing like Goku and Vegeta being like in danger, even though like they're still base form. Like whatever they're fighting, they could handle clearly. But like, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? It's exciting.
And listener, in case you don't already know, we said Dragon Ball's taking a week off. We are not. We're keeping our schedule, which means that our next episode is just going to be about episode 13. And then presumably we'll go 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And then if all the rumors are correct, we'll cover episode 20 by itself, which probably will end up being for the best. So, and as you can see, we've been going long on this. And so we're going to take episode 13 as an opportunity to take a little bit of a breather here and have a hopefully shorter episode.
Always say that. Never happens.
Well, then they drop a whole bunch of Namekian lore on us, and we really got to dive deep into it.
I love it.
I
absolutely
would love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want something short. Give me something like episode 12 where it's like, some fights and some cool things happen, and we can talk about how awesome that is.
The viewers want to listen to our long Ken lore dumps. We love Ken's dumps.
Can't get enough of his dumps. But we're actually going to take a break from that dump before we get to hear your dumps. And I'm going to stop with that whole joke thing.
Dump that joke.
Yeah. Dang it, Doug. You saved it. Good job. Anyway, we're taking a break, and we'll be right back to hear what you guys had to say about these episodes of Daima. So stick around. Alrighty, and we're back with more. We got a podcast, but now we're going to listen to what you guys had to say about these episodes of Daima, because we put out the call over on the Blue Sky, thanks to Ken. I was going to say Doug. Doug does Jack, so it's all Ken.
I'm just the talent.
Ken explicitly says, Vegeta plays the central role in an action-packed couple of episodes of Dragon Ball Daima. How do you feel how Daima has been handling him? So, Ken, why don't you take this first one here from Jacob?
Yeah, Jacob Sawyer writes in and says, I always want more Vegeta. I think the interactions with him and Hybus are pretty great. I was excited and laughing in delight when the 3 transformation happened. I might have liked the fight go longer to really sell some beats. I might recut the fight from the 2 episodes to see how it flows.
I'd be interested to see that.
Without the intercutting between the Majins?
Yeah. Without the doof and Tamagami 1.
For S's and G's, add some Kikuchi music into that musicless part just to see how it feels. The cognitive dissonance.
I really think this episode shines having the 2 intercut between the 2.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But, it's always fun to see, how does this flow if we didn't have that?
True. Just to focus on it.
Right. Yeah. So we got this one from Proto Packet, who says, you can give a character the craziest action moment ever, but if they have less screen time than our villains, than our side villains, it feels cheap. I don't mind Vegeta hitting Super Saiyan 3. I think all of the jokes with him have been good. I just want more of him and Piccolo, less of Goku, Glorio, and Pansy. Shin can stay.
Shine.
Shin has been pretty great this entire series.
I don't think it's any shocker that the less Glorio we've had in these episodes, the better they've been.
Yeah.
So I'd also say less Glorio.
I didn't care about this character. He's such a nothing character.
No, he sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry, Glorio stands, all 6 of you, I guess. PD Gaming writes in and says, not great. Vegeta and even Piccolo and Bulma feel out of place in this story. His presence overshadows the original cast, Goku, Pansy, Shin, Glorio, and he adds little to the plot besides being another strong fighter, TM. Even his, quote, cool moments, like the Super Saiyan 3 transformation, feel uninspired.
That's fair. I see where you're coming from.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we just got them, so let's see what they can offer to the story more in the future.
I think some of this is them maybe learning their mistakes from GT.
That's what I was thinking too, because if we just stuck with the 3 original cast, that would feel too much like GT, and not only that, but just I was sick of them already by the time stuff got rolling around.
I think if there wasn't the hope that Vegeta, Piccolo, and Bulma were going to show up, I would have maybe started having a serious discussion about not wanting to watch the show for the podcast anymore.
Kind of, around that feeling. I was really dragging.
Glorio just sucks, dude.
Nothing character.
I love Shin. I've said I love Shin so much in the show. Great. He's the best version of his character.
Pansy is literally just Pan. But
Pansy's whatever. Pansy's inoffensive. Glorio sucks, and I don't want him around. I don't like him.
Yeah.
Even if it's just less Goku and Shin, we've been with these characters for 11-ish episodes for this whole time, giving them some time to breathe so that way you don't feel like, oh, it's GTL over again, where it's Dragon Ball Goku time, where it's all just his story. It's nice to feel that. So, I'm sure we're going to get plenty more coming in later.
And with Piccolo, I really feel like he himself is the seed being planted for more Namekian lore with Neva to happen.
Yeah, right. So maybe Piccolo is a bad idea then.
But either way, PD Gaming, I see where you're coming from.
Totally.
But as a person who loves Vegeta, I was
after discussing it with you two guys, I really see more value with them as well in the story.
Aeon Panenko says, always nice to get a Vegeta win in modern Dragon Ball, but Toriyama giving the man who always loses the form then never wins, not counting movie 13, an actual W, is the ultimate subversion. Excited to see when Goku goes Super Saiyan 3 as well. Yeah, man, give me more of these hedgehogs. I love them.
All the dual hedgehogs. It's just more SH figure art for me to buy.
Yeah, man. We have to get a shot of that, of them both Super Saiyan 3.
I wonder if that's going to be the mystery figure, because there's these pre-order figures that I pre-ordered without them showing the image of what they are. I just full sent on the pre-order figures and bought them. I guess one of them will be Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, and maybe the second one will be Goku. So I'm excited to see what they will be.
I complained before that the Gomah figure looked really great, but they wanted a stupid amount of money, and I'm like, nope, spell's broken. But when this episode aired, I turned to Andrew and I said, I don't care how much they want to charge for this figure. I'm buying it. And thankfully, he knows me. He married me, so he knows this is a big deal. And
that's a good deal. That's great.
I can't.
And then hopefully you can head swap onto the adult Daima Vegeta body that's going to come out put it on that, and then boom, Super Saiyan 3 adult
that'd be
Vegeta.
great.
It might look weird, but yeah. Either way. Gabby, Mozilla Vulpix writes in and says, I don't know why he's there.
Just that? Just that? That's,
For people like me.
Let's give this like the most cynical viewpoint here, right? Daima was a product that existed before Toriyama, meaning that this was like a corporate idea to have this. And so therefore you have to have Vegeta because Vegeta merch sells.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's like the most bare bones reason why Vegeta's here.
Yeah. I guess in universe also, it's just like we could have had Goku go Super Saiyan 3 and the same result, I guess, would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
This really is just to like give Vegeta a new form and more figures, and the Vegeta fans would love it. But we don't know yet. He could play another deeper role also. I mean, he knew that snakes don't eat biscuits because he's raised on planet Vegeta.
I'm just glad
Goku
that
couldn't have done that.
He's there because Glorio is a wet fart and Pansy is milquetoast at best.
Yeah.
So Goku doesn't have a lot of great character. Like Goku and Shin is a fun dynamic because we never really seen them together before. And they're so different. Like Goku's a childish wild card, and Shin is more of an observer, deity, right? And to get Vegeta back in here, he's the perfect foil for Goku to bounce off of.
Yeah.
So I think he's really
Koo and Do.
Yeah, Koo and Do. It's in duos.
Work sometimes.
And so to have Vegeta here, he works great because he's the perfect character for Goku to bounce off of.
Right.
Jason C here says, as a Vegeta fan, I'm eating good. Brother, same. It's great to see how locked in he is in these fights, mostly silent and without his usual smirks and insults, just straight and to the point. He even gets to drop Planet Vegeta lore. They had snakes. Vegeta wins, but I know the inevitable Worf effect is coming. And I want to say, it was very nice to have Vegeta transform into this form and not be, bragging about how strong he is. There was no thumb point to himself and say, I'm Super Vegeta 3 now.
That was more pre Majin Buu, like past his evil era. Like, he doesn't smirk like that anymore. He's not about the connivingness anymore, really.
Doug, let me talk to you in figure terms. The Super Saiyan God figure comes with the thumbs up. The superhero figure comes with the thumbs up. So it's still like a part of his character, at least as far as merch is concerned.
He's pointing it to his opponents. He's like,
oh.
No.
Got your nose.
This is how
you're going down. Yeah, you're going
This is how we do it on Vegeta. Now,
articulation.
Ken, you know a lot more about Star Trek than me, and it's been a long time since I watched Next Gen or Deep Space Nine, because isn't Worf in Deep Space Nine as well?
Yes.
What is the inevitable Worf effect?
So Worf effect is pretty simple, right? Worf was a Klingon warrior on the Enterprise D, and he was the head of security after Tasha Yar died in season 1. Guys, shouts out. Right?
Yeah, seriously.
So the idea of the Worf effect is you show someone's strength by having them beat Worf. And so this would be like, now that we've got this great idea of how strong Vegeta is, someone comes by and beats him, and that's how we know that guy's strong.
Oh, right, okay.
That's the Worf effect.
Yeah, that's coming. Absolutely is coming. That's how that's going to work.
Dragon Ball's full of that, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
GGF writes in and says, I did dislike how he and the rest of the sidecast were sidelined until like 10 episodes in, but obviously the most recent episode makes up for it a bit. He got a story-relevant win and looked cool doing it. Never been a huge fan of Super Saiyan 3, but I appreciate giving him a unique hairstyle for it. Oh yeah, he and Hybis are a great comedic duo. Want to see more of those two.
Heck, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, the hair, we didn't talk about much, like the difference in style that it is. Well, I don't know if maybe I misheard. But yeah, no, I really do love like how it just sticks straight up. It's very Vegeta style hair. It's just not just because everyone that makes custom figures always just makes it like the Goku Super Saiyan 3 look. And something about that just didn't vibe with me. But this one I can definitely see being a good alternate.
Yeah, even the Raging Blast games, it was just, it goes up and then it just falls down the back like Goku's and Gotenks's, and we get kind of this distinct look for each form of Super Saiyan 3 for these characters. Goku's the classic one, long hair, one bang.
Wavy.
He's got pupils in his eyes, except for that one illustration.
Pupils.
Where he's accidentally drawn like Vegeta.
But then Gotenks, he's got the same long hair and things, but he doesn't have, he doesn't have the one bang, and he doesn't have pupils. And now we have Vegeta, who does have pupils, but his hair isn't long and like flowing down. It's shorter. It goes straight back, and then he also has like more coming down from the base of his neck to kind of like round it out.
It's like an evolution of Super Vegeta, because his was like hair was like super pointed out, at least in the
or certain Ultra Ego look we get later on, which also has longer hair on the bottom.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, Doug, you're
a little
confused.
bit, but yeah, we'll get to it.
But it's there, so you can't argue that.
Watch me.
We'll see how it goes. Okay, cool. Well, thank you everybody for giving us that. Really appreciate it. Even if we don't all agree, it's fun to just chit chat about this and throw out what you have to say, and we talk about it. And you know what, guys? I think that it's we should probably move on to that's right, trivia. Trivia is what we do after this.
Kidding me? We're like an hour and a half away from the new year, and you're going to throw trivia my way. That's how we're going to start. That's how we're going to end the year.
Sorry, man. So, of course, trivia provided by the great trivia deity Zenpai, who has given us these 3 questions. So get ready, you 3, and you listening out there, keep track. Which ones do you know ahead of time? Because these are always pretty tough. Question 1.
Get my Majin Buu back out.
Get it out. You're going to need it. I don't know what for, but you're going to need it. I can just feel it. In which chapter of the manga does Goku first transform into a Super Saiyan 3? There's some leeway. Whoever's closest, I'm going to let you have it, but you can't go over.
Oh, I'm so bad with these. It's not a history class. I need to know dates and stuff.
All right. Ken's always like figuring out the math. He's like, okay, well, this happened in this chapter number. So if we count out how many 470 volumes.
Oh my God.
All right. 470 is your guess. Doug, would you like to... Ken, you just got screwed because it's 474. Doug got it right.
I am the intelligent one.
No, you know what? I'm still taking the win on this. Okay.
I would have guessed 127 or some shit like that.
I made an extremely well-educated guess.
And I just
I was
back
4 chapters off.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
It is. It's super. For a very short heartbeat there, when you said the first little bit, I was like, oh shit.
You perked up. You're like, oh my God, he's got it. I can't believe he's got it.
So yes, chapter 474, titled The Limit, Super Saiyan 3. So we can't go further than that. That's the limit. We're done. We can't talk about anything else after that. Question number 2, which is the last episode of Dragon Ball Super to feature Super Saiyan 3?
Oh, wasn't it during the Tournament of Power against Kefla?
Yeah,
you showed it to...
Come on.
So I'm going to say 116.
All right,
I'll give Ken... I'll say 115. It's without going over.
You're both over, but Doug is closer at 113.
No. I didn't mean to...
Can see the fury building in his eyes.
All right, Zenpai, no more questions like this, okay?
Or at least let me go first, so that
yeah, that's true. We should make Doug go first. Oh God! All right, we did kind of talk about this, so I'm gonna get a point, and Zenpai's gonna lose a point. In which video game did Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta first appear?
Battlers
Raging
or
Blast.
whatever you call them.
Oh, you said Battlers. You're right.
Battlers Revenge or something.
Dragon Battlers in 2009, an arcade game that preceded Dragon Ball Heroes. It then showed up in the first Raging Blast game later in 2009, but it was Dragon Battlers that got the debut. Thanks to Vegeta EX for answering a Reddit question and giving me such a perfect answer to just straight up copy verbatim.
I don't know what this Battlers is.
I mean, it's just like the Heroes video game adaptations, but, a different name,
I know, but I would have heard of them, but I've never heard of this.
How tuned in were you in 2009, Doug? Come on.
Pretty in tune.
Oh, okay. So you're still
game scene.
You're still over there being like, we're gonna get Zenkai Battle Royale any day now. They're gonna port it. Yeah, one of these days. We're gonna get it, and then we'll all just be like, finally, the long whole thing, our nightmare is over. Oh man, well that was good. You guys did great, and Ken, I'm sorry. Go have a drink.
2 for 2.
No, you know what? Listen, Doug may have won those questions, but the audience is impressed with me right now. Okay.
I don't know. It takes some tenacity to do what I did and take off yours. Is tenacity the right word? Are they impressed with that?
I was gonna say 113 too, because I knew that the two-parter in which they introduced Ultra Instinct was 110 and 111, and I knew the Kefla stuff was after that. Okay,
Whoa.
But I just didn't think it was that close to 111. So this is how I make my educated guesses.
They're very.
That's
educated.
what I like. I like to hear you. Show your work. That's exciting.
I think there's a little credit that I actually knew what scene we were talking about, though.
That is
it
true.
It wasn't just like, what the heck is this?
But would you have been even close to that?
Not even remotely. No.
Doug, do you remember how many episodes of Dragon Ball Super there are?
357.
Yeah, exactly.
It felt that way, at least.
Whoa, it felt that way. Oh, geez. All right. Well, this is going to be it for us, guys. Thanks for listening. We love interacting with you and keeping you in the conversation, talking about our favorite franchise in the world. You can post us on Blue Sky at wegotapodcast.com over there. Otherwise, you can also email us at wegotapod@gmail.com.
And thank you to Rifti Beats for letting us use this track, Kakarot Theme Hip Hop Trap Remix. You can find that track and other great music by Rifti on his SoundCloud. Ken, where can the beautiful people find you?
You can find me at detectivex.bsky.social.
And Randy?
You can find me at saberbreaker.wegotapodcast.com over on Blue Sky.
And
Doug.
I don't know the URL for Blue Sky, but it's Jabaz Doug. Not just Jabaz. Someone else took that. Jabaz Doug.
Jabaz Doug at BSKY.
And Jabaz Doug on TikTok before it's banned. So check me out there.
Download it while you can.
Before we end the episode here, I want to give a plug to my friend who is involved in AGDQ this year. It's Awesome Games Done Quick, and they raise money for the Prevent Cancer Foundation every year. On Saturday, so the Saturday after this episode comes out, Saturday at about 3:30 p.m. Central. Of course, this will change depending on runs going ending early or running late. In like the primetime hour on that Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Central, he's going to be running Crazy Taxi. Now, the thing about streaming or playing Crazy Taxi is that it's got all that music from, what's the group who did it? The Offspring. And so you get instantly copyright claimed doing anything with that game. So to subvert that, he's going to turn the music off and he will have a live band there playing the music of Crazy Taxi as he plays the game, with Tudos, another popular Crazy Taxi and like Donkey Kong 64 speedrunner, on vocals for that. So it's going to be incredible.
That's awesome.
My friend Chuckles825, Saturday of AGDQ at about 3:30 p.m. Central, but check the schedule to make sure. So definitely want you guys to check that out. That's going to be awesome.
That sounds awesome.
Check your local listings for date and time, but the date's the same. It's the time that you need to worry about. I just wanted to say that line.
Local
You
listing.
never had a chance to.
Yeah,
What does it even mean these days? Your local listing.
So as always, guys, thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe, review, tell all your friends. Remember, next time we're covering just episode 13, so don't watch the non-existent episode 14. That's not going to happen. So we will catch you, Matinator.
Later.
See ya.